Welcome to another edition of Thought Leaders Live, where we talk with thought leaders in business, life, and all points in between. Happy to be joined today by an old friend of mine. Well, he's not old, but a friend I've known for many years, Jordie Kern of the Seven Eagle Group. Jordie, thanks for taking some time to
You
chat.
got it. Thanks for having me, Greg. I'm
Of
excited.
course. Yeah, so we're going to talk about how to grow your business risk-free with elite military talent. And this is really a fascinating approach from Jordie, who is the founder of the Seven Eagle Group. Jordie, why don't you bring us up to speed on what you guys do at the Seven Eagle Group? I'm really a huge fan of your mission and what you guys are doing.
You got it. Well, thank you. I'm fired up to tell you a little bit more about what we're up to. I didn't serve. My dad did in World War II, and my friends did coming out of high school. And I just felt like, man, as I got older, I'm like, why did I not have that experience? Why did these people raise their hands to serve our country, and how did we escape that? My late 40s, I said, man, I want to do something meaningful with the rest of my working career, and so decided to help our vets connect with great companies for careers that match their skill sets, that align with their passions, that pay them well. And that was about 12 years ago. And man, I just absolutely love the work we get to do every day. I wish I came across this when we were getting out of college,
Right.
because I enjoy it so much. It's one of these rare careers that you get excited to jump out of bed in the morning. And, it's just truly a privilege and an honor to help our vets connect with companies and to help companies hire this amazing talent pool.
And let's talk a little bit about the why this is so needed for the veterans out there, and what is the problem. I mean, you would think somebody coming out of serving our country would be scooped up by employers. I mean, what's the
Yeah.
problem that vets have when they come out of the service?
Yeah, it's great. It's a great question. I mean, the military does an amazing job of training our men and women how to be excellent, really, at whatever path they choose. I mean, they instill this sense of like this grit and this toughness and leadership and coachability and all these great quality traits that, so it's hard to teach. It takes years to teach people these things. And they're doing that every day with lives on the line, when they have no opportunity to screw up. They got to get it right. They got to complete those missions. And um I, prior to me starting this, I ran a few other businesses, and I just always struggled with finding good people. And I think it's a common challenge in corporate America, is
Sure.
especially when you're running an operation, and this, it's just hard to find people. There's so many variables to making a good match. Um, and one of my previous businesses, I had hired he was an army truck driver, I think, and he came in and worked for me, and just it was like the work of three people. He
Mm.
had this drive in him that, you know, like, for it was amazing to watch, to experience how someone could be so much more productive than our typical, candidate in that role. And I said, as I got older, I said, man, I would love to place more of these guys, because I feel so many people benefit, right? The vet gets onto a career path that aligns with his interests, his goals. He's employed, he or she is employed, which is good for everyone.
Huh.
And companies get this incredible talent pool that can help them grow and prosper. And I just felt like it was a nice alignment for that, for me in that stage of my life. And it's been amazing. I've really enjoyed it.
Well, talk to me a little bit about why veterans struggle personally to
Yeah.
land these jobs.
So, like I said, I think they all have that foundational skills, those soft
Right.
skills, right? But then the military doesn't really have an incentive to teach them how to go out and market themselves, how to promote
Uh,
themselves. they want them to stay in for as long as possible. They invest
Uh,
millions of dollars into these soldiers, and
sure.
so what happens is you have, you know, an airplane mechanic coming out of the military, and if he doesn't have an airport near him where he can service planes, he's like, oh, I guess I got to go work at Jiffy Lube because I'm a mechanic. And nobody's there's this missing piece there of people, of the mentorship, the coaching for those candidates to say, man, come on, you got these soft skills that can take you so far no matter what you choose to do. You can pivot, you can do something different than what you did in the service. And that's what we do. We try to pump them up, get their confidence up. We expose them to lots of different career paths, and help them find the one that's going to make them happiest, get them that life that they all deserve. And uh, you know, if there aren't organizations like ours out there, unfortunately, you have a lot of there's a lot of veteran unemployment, and I think even worse, you have underemployment, where you have vets just taking the first job that gets offered to them, and they're not making the money they need, and that can be a problem too.
Yeah, I mean, I like what you said about those soft skills and how valuable those are, and I think that is a huge struggle for companies. I mean, you can get somebody in and you can teach them how to do a job,
Right.
but that character and that work ethic and that discipline, that's not something you just find every day.
Absolutely not. It is, and it drives me nuts because a lot of companies in America, they get so caught up in like the job description. Like, you have to have these
Yeah,
12 requirements before we'll consider looking at you for a job here, right? And it's like, oh, you need, 7 years of experience doing this. It's like, I've met people with 20 years of experience doing some jobs that I wouldn't like let walk my dog. But then you meet somebody with like maybe hasn't done it before, and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna run through a friggin' wall for me. I just
yeah,
gotta put him in the game.
yep,
And
absolutely.
yeah, that's why we present our candidates, our veterans, to the companies. We do with little videos because I want them to see and hear from them and see their confidence and their excitement. And I don't want them being judged just by a sheet of paper, by a
Yeah.
resume, because most hiring authorities in America are civilians. 90% of us did not serve, and they're looking at resumes that they might not relate to. And I want them, we try to create a lot of interaction with them, and that's what we do in our academy every day as well.
Do you, and this just occurred to me, Jordie. I mean, that's a huge percentage of the hiring force, non-military. Do you think there is some sort of, and I'm just throwing this out there, it might not be the case at all, but because a lot of people haven't served, you don't think they react adversely in any way if they see that military thing? So, I mean, me personally, if somebody was in the military, I'd be like, you're
Yeah.
going to the top of the list. Do you think you get any weird reactions if they were in the military?
Yeah,
Or
it's a great question. I mean, I feel, because I've been doing this over a decade now, I feel it's not like Vietnam. Like, we were at the
yeah,
we saw that firsthand with people in the 10 years older than us, where those guys came back, and that was a much much different experience for them. The vets coming back today, for the most part, civilians are very appreciative and thankful and grateful for them serving. Politics aside, it's like, hey, we want to support our vets. They deserve it, right? They deserve our our help
yeah,
with their careers. But at the end of the day, and even you see this even at big companies, where they'll say, oh, we're vet friendly, we hire vets. But then you dig deeper into that, and a lot of them are they're not providing great jobs for like, yeah, you can work in the warehouse, or
mm,
serve coffee, or these minimum wage jobs. That's not helping them with their career,
yeah,
um, as much as, hey, more of the executive type jobs. And then unfortunately, you do have a portion of the people who are just they're just ignorant. Nobody's educated them. They automatically assume the person's going to show up with issues, with
Right.
the gun in the back pocket, and it's just ridiculous. It's just from ignorance and not being exposed, and um, and unfortunately, there's the stigma of the PTSD, but man, their mental health affects everyone, not just
Sure.
vets. It's not limited to that population. So everyone's dealing with that one. So
Oh, that's for damn sure. I mean, there's trauma in everybody's lives. So
yeah,
let's talk a little bit about how to hire a transitioning veteran through a Seven Eagle and what you were mentioning to me before the show, the SkillBridge program, which seems
yeah,
really amazing.
yeah. I think it's one of the best things the military's ever done since the GI Bill. I mean, which is they have this amazing program called SkillBridge. We're an authorized provider of this program, and what they do is they allow a transitioning service member to spend his or her typically about 3 months, the last part of their service. They excuse them from their military responsibilities and they can start working on their career full time while they're getting paid by the government. So they continue to receive their military pay. And typically for that 3 months, they come to our organization and we run an online academy every day and it goes on for 5 hours on Zoom. And during that, we bring in about 20 speakers per week from all different industries, from having the Green Bay Packers on to American Airlines to music companies and drones and cybersecurity. And so we bring in all these executives, and the goal is to just let them share their stories and let them talk about what it's like to work in their career paths. So our mission is to help the vet figure out what he or she wants to do, what's going to excite them, what's going to get them to jump out of bed when they take the uniform off and they're in this new chapter of their career. So we try to introduce them to a lot of different career paths, and then they hopefully pick one that they're going to start out with, and then we can get them into an OJT situation, and on the job training, where they can go test drive that career path. So we hook them up with training partners of ours. And if the vet, for example, wants to go into cybersecurity, we get him into a cybersecurity internship where he gets real hands-on experience working in the civilian side. And it's a chance for him to sort of kick the tires on that career path. It's an opportunity for the companies to see that potential permanent hire in action. So at the end of it, hopefully there's a permanent W-2 employee job there. And it just makes for a really smart way for companies to hire, and a smart way for candidates to see if the career path is right for them.
So explain to me how this works for the company. So you said there was a $15,000 per hire with no salary. I mean, maybe you can give us more of the
Sure.
details
So
on.
on average, if you just take an entry level executive type job, let's just say a 60K. So somebody coming out of the military and starting a job at that level. Not to say we don't have people starting at 150,000, but that's about average for
Yeah,
someone in America. And during that time, if their salary for say 3 months for the first quarter is going to be paid by the government, that company does not have to pay $15,000 salary in that example. They don't have to pay health insurance. They don't, and so it eliminates that financial risk to try out a new person in a role. So there's an enormous savings for the company. It's just a really smart way to hire. If you stop and think about it, like the way companies hire in America, it hasn't changed in like 100 years. It's like, let me see your resume, right? And you're looking at this sheet of paper. It's trying to decide, is this sheet of paper going to
yeah,
be the person, the superstar I need for my company? And if anyone tells you they can predict, they're dead wrong. Nobody can predict. It's
yeah.
impossible, especially with chat GPT written resumes that look
Uh,
perfect, that are written ideally for that job. Then you can easily game the interview question. You can practice the exact right things that they want to hear.
yeah,
But there's no hiding when you're watching someone do your job. Like if you need a sales rep, it doesn't matter what they tell you in the interview phase. Hey, you see after a week, did the guy sell or not sell? Is he good? Is he right?
right, right.
There's no hiding. So that's what I feel makes this program so valuable for everyone.
So Does the when you've got people you mentioned coming into your academy, so they haven't started the $15,000 deal yet. They haven't got hired by the company. So they're in your academy and they can just join this. Is this free of charge to
Yep.
just join
Everything
your
is free that we do for the candidates, for the vets. So it's
okay.
open to the transitioning service members. We also have veterans in there. We have military spouses. So we're trying to help everyone connect with, to launch their careers and give them that sense of community they that they have when they're serving, but they often lose when they take off the uniform. And it's just so important, I think, for them to feel like, hey, we got your back. We're here with you throughout your civilian career, and we're going to connect you with companies that really value what you bring to the table.
Wow. So how long did somebody stay typically in the academy?
It's typically about a month with us in the academy. We're helping them figure out their career path. We're teaching them all about networking and interviewing skills and resume writing and LinkedIn, and then after that, we want to get them into an OJT, and then from there, we convert that to a permanent job for them.
Oh, that's fantastic. Uh, we want to talk a little bit about one of your bullet points is why veterans consistently outperform when placed in the right roles and environments. I think we touched on it a little bit before, but maybe you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, and I, I just feel the veteran. Again, I didn't serve, but I just feel so many of them are just that's how they're just wired to like finish the mission, whatever.
Mhm.
There's no excuses. There's no blaming others when it fails. I mean, we all face obstacles and we all get knocked down in our lives, personally, professionally. Every day, there's stuff that happens, and a lot of people stay down, they fold, they quit, they blame others. And with the vet, some of them are just like, man, it's like give them get out of their way and watch them figure out how to do it. They're very resourceful. They have that tenacity that they know that mission comes first, and whatever that mission is for them. And I just think that makes them such great team members.
Oh yeah, and it sounds like there's no quit in them, really, right? Like you got to finish that mission. And I've heard that one of my favorite sayings is the only way you lose is if you quit.
Yeah,
And I think obviously the veterans, they will persevere and fight,
yeah,
like you said, run through the wall. Jordy, let's talk a little bit here about the state of hiring, and because we work with manufacturers,
yeah,
and that's a huge struggle for manufacturing right now.
yeah,
Um, finding people, finding good people.
yeah.
I want to circle back to manufacturers in particular, but what do you think are some of the big hurdles now with the workforce and people hiring and trying to fill these talent positions?
Yeah, great question. I think when you and I got out of college, I mean, we would print off 10 resumes, you handwrite the envelope, you slick them and you send them out. Usually you can get a few interviews. Now, today, it's like on average, the typical company gets 250 job applicants, right? Because it's so easy to apply. You just sit there, you can sit there and go apply,
Yeah,
apply,
yeah,
apply, apply,
right,
apply. You can
right.
do that all day long on Indeed or Monster, or LinkedIn, right? There even I saw an offer the other day. It said AI applicants for like we'll apply to 200 jobs for you per day via AI. Just tell us what you want and we'll shoot off your resume. So can you imagine you're the hiring authority for a job
Yeah,
and you're sitting on a stack of 250 applicants, and each resume looks like a superstar because they're done by Chat GPT. It's like, how do you possibly pick the five who you want to interview? You can. It's like the five you pick are going to be different than my five, which are different than the next guy. Because you might say, "Oh, I like this guy's education." I might say, "Oh, look at his work experience." Someone else might say, "Wow, look where he lives." They're just
yeah,
it's so random.
yeah.
And if you're an applicant, it's so easy to get lost in that pool of of candidates, you know,
Yeah.
and most of them don't even know who they applied to, right? If you're the hiring manager, you call them up, hey, thanks for applying for the job. They're like, oh, can you tell me what was this again? I
Oh,
applied to so many.
jeez.
Like you want to like bang your head against the wall. You're like, really? That's how you're going to be your first impression with me? But that's why I'm not, I just hate resumes. I'm not an applicant. I don't like the applicant strategy that all Americans do, which is, oh, I'm going to be living in Madison. Let me see who's hiring in Madison. And that it's just so reactive. So
Yeah.
we teach them how to really network your way to a job, right? If you want to be, you know, you want to work at a pro baseball team and you want to work in ticket sales, find people who are doing that job today and network with them. Set informational interviews and ask them about their story and you know what challenges they've faced and what they would recommend. And what happens when you do that is you learn so much about that career path, about what you like, what you think you would match up well. You're also meeting people, which nobody's doing today, right? You're
Yeah.
getting your name out there and you're getting people who will be absolutely impressed with you and want to help you. People generally want to help. And
Yeah.
they'll say, man, come on here. Let me take you under my wing. Let me show you. And that's how I feel most people get hired at the best jobs is they network their way there. And like the old fashioned way, not let me apply to 1,000 jobs this week and see who like throw the spaghetti on the wall and see where I can end up, you know?
I like to say that probably one of the more important metrics is conversations these days. I mean,
Absolutely.
we just
So hard.
don't,
Yeah.
and nobody's really measuring them,
Oh,
I don't think.
no one.
Um,
They work. They're so effective, right? They work like, you know, my son who's a freshman in college, man, if I say, hey, go have a conversation with that guy, he'll like, what are you friggin' nuts? No way. What? A what? A drunk dad? Right. But that wins, man. That's how you could have so many great opportunities if you're a job seeker. If you just talk to people and let them know you're hungry and you're eager and you want their mentorship and let them help you. And it always has a great result for people when they follow that advice.
that's great insight. One other thing I remember you telling me about was hiring people at lower wage jobs. And I think you were telling me that you had a lot of trouble um, with companies who would hire at lower wage jobs and keeping people in those positions. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking about manufacturers at maybe the entry level.
Yeah.
And I think you mentioned that the thing that they all miss is trying to present some kind of career path to
Yeah,
people.
so crucial. Yeah, especially manufacturing, because that's where I got my start in this business. Was I just hired trades people, folks in the trades, and which is, as you know, massive, massive demand. It's not slowing down
Yeah.
as the older generation retires, and there's
Yeah.
just so many jobs in these skilled trades. And but I feel the mistake the companies make is they'll say, "Oh, we need someone to work on the manufacturing line, and it's $16 an hour," and like that's and so the person takes that job not realizing like what's my path, man? If I kick ass, if I knock it out of the park, what can I do? Can I take that 16 to 22 an hour and then to 28, and can I be a shift supervisor? And because I think that lack of communication from the companies down, what happens is you get people doing those jobs and they're there for 3 months, and then all of a sudden they see an ad for, oh, I can go deliver pizzas or drive on Uber and make an extra 25 cents an hour, and they're out the door, and because they didn't see the path that was set for them. And at least in the military, it's very cut and dry. It's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
here's what you got to do to get to the next rank, the next promotion. So people hang in there and they grind it out on
Yeah.
those, on they pay the dues. And I feel too many people quit or get fired because they don't realize, hey, I could be a shift supervisor here. I could be a VP one day.
So you mentioned you did a lot of work in manufacturing, and we've had people on here talking about
Yeah.
hiring and the problems in manufacturing.
Yeah.
What what would you say if you could, I mean, you just gave us a great tip there, but what could manufacturers do to fill those job positions besides talk to Seven Eagle.
Yeah, I think it's just painting the picture for people, getting them out of the instant gratification, like, um, hey, it's 16 bucks an hour and that's your life from here on. And like the applicants can't envision, where am I going to be in 2 years and five? Oh, wait, in 10 years, I could be like a C level, like sharing all the stories of the people who, like in baseball, like the minor leagues, the person who got promoted now is, getting them excited about where they can be with the company, both from a responsibility standpoint, from a salary standpoint, painting those pictures, letting them know that there's more to this company than just working on the manufacturing line or doing whatever. So many times we talk to candidates who are like, "Oh, I need a new job." And I'm like, "Well, what's wrong with where you are now?" And the answer is always the same. There's nowhere for me to go. I feel
Uh,
like I'm like, you're making 45 grand a year. What do you mean there's nowhere for you to go? They
yeah.
don't envision that somebody's got to be in those upper jobs and it's going to be the best people, but they just don't see the path there. And I think I just really feel it's mostly communication, you know,
Hmm.
and not painting the picture of what can be if they do really well in that position.
I see a lot of people who are talking about manufacturing, and they're all about we have to encourage people to show manufacturing, show people the great points of the industry. But I think you bring up a really good point. It's like you almost got to really personalize that journey, right? You really have to show them what that path looks like. Not just, yeah, there's a lot more tech in
Yeah,
manufacturing. It's much cleaner. It's not the old dusty,
the old
dirty
west, right?
manufacturing. But what actually does a career path look like? Because like you
Right,
said, in the military, we know the ranks, we know what that is, but
right.
how does that entry level person on the line get up
Evolve,
into
right.
some of
Can
those
you
more?
imagine like like are you think there are any hiring authorities out there in manufacturing today? The person shows up on day one and they say, "Hey, before we get started, I want to plan out your next couple years here. What it could look like if you're here 5 years from now." They don't do that. They say, "Hey, here's your wrench. Go. We'll see it."
Yeah, yeah,
And it just feels, if it feels like a dead end job to someone, no matter what the company, they're not going to stay long. They're going to be out the door before a year is out. Most people in those starting out jobs, they don't stay that long because they just feel it's not a good fit. And I think it can be a good fit. Any company can be a good fit, but you got to just, you know, they just needs better communication. That's all.
I have to let's we know you got to jump off here in just a minute, but I just want to ask you one more question because, it's mandatory that I ask you about AI because no one can have a conversation in the modern world without talking about AI for a couple
I
minutes.
no
So,
doubt.
um, tell me about AI,
Yeah.
where you're seeing it in the job world, both from and a smart way to use it. Let's start there, not the
Yeah,
bad
smart.
things.
The smart way I would feel is you have to use it. It's like that train's left the station. If you're not using it, you're in trouble, right? So
Yeah,
you have to let it inspire you, whether that be if you're a job seeker, help it craft interview answers that you're going to get asked. Tell us about yourself. Why do you want to work here? What are your weaknesses? Like, let it help you craft better answers than you can do on your own. But please don't mislead, don't lie, don't keep it in your own words.
yeah,
Um, you know, obviously you got to adapt your resume to the job. You got to make AI. It has to make you look everything has to be personalized. You can't look like you're doing bulk stuff, right? And
yeah,
AI can really make it easy for you on that end. From the company end, man, it's hard. It's so hard because every candidate looks like a superstar on paper.
mhm,
It's just a challenge. I don't know where this industry is going in a few years. I wish I knew, but the more, I think the theme of this would be have communication, connect, network with
yeah,
people. Don't hide behind your computer. So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah. I'll just leave you with this. My friend of mine did something where he took what he loved to do and his stuff, and he threw it in AI, and he said,
Yeah.
"This is where I think I'm going to go. Tell me what you think I'm good at." And it was kind of interesting because it gave a good analysis of him.
Yeah.
So,
No doubt.
all right, Jordie, you got to go. If somebody wants to work with Seven Eagle, how do they do it?
Yeah, 7eagle.com, the number 7, the word eagle.com. We're out there. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm the only Jordie Kern, I think. So whatever we can do to help you, we're here for you.
All right. Thanks, my
Thanks
brother.
for
I
having me,
appreciate
buddy.
it. Take
Appreciate
care.
it. All right, I got to
Bye-bye.
jump. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for joining us on another edition of LinkedIn Live. We'll catch you on the